What people are after is coaching now, okay? And it's what I did was very much, in looking at it in retrospect, a coaching phenomenon where I'm helping, guide them through the process and getting them focused and lending expertise and those kind of things. And that facility is very much needed still today, and in play as far as I'm concerned. So it's really up to the coach to help the company identify and hopefully empower it to know what to do to get the company to the next level. And the managers are much more attuned to that. But it's sort of like when you have outside facilitator, when you have somebody there to assist you, they can move things along much faster than you could ever do it on your own. And that I think is what most of my clients recognize. For a relatively small amount of money, they could get a huge bang for the buck. And it's one of the things that I carefully avoided was making a company dependent on me. I did not try to become part of the management of the company, because I thought that was, in the final analysis, that was a destructive thing to do. And it got me involved in all kinds of internal and even family politics and things like that if I melded over to that line. So I tried to conduct myself strictly as the outside observer who gave advice and figured out how to empower. And that's the other answer to your question is, the empowerment process is not you doing it, but getting, teaching other people how to accomplish those goals. Management is getting results through other people, not doing it yourself. And that's hard for everybody to learn, really. And I studied empowerment over and over again, and I built a lot of that into my process.
So what does it take to empower people then, after all this time?
Well, first of all, you have to give them the tools and the resources. That's
What does that mean, tools and resources?
Well, that means they need the information to run their business. They need, in the case of automation, they need tools, and they need other facilities to understand and get feedback on what's working and not working inside the business. So that's an absolute key one. The other one that I emphasize all the time is empowerment is the authority to decide and act. So entrepreneurs will want to make all the decisions, right? They feel very uncomfortable delegating anything to somebody who doesn't know as much as they do, or trust as they do, or have as much interest in the company or whatever. So the more you could get an entrepreneur to understand how to empower people and let them decide and act. Some of them are going to, it's like raising kids, they're going to make mistakes, but it's what they learn from it. There's been whole curriculums on what's called the learning organization, which is develop an organization that institutionally benefits and learns from its mistakes and then incorporates them in their direction.
How does the company know if they're a learning organization or not?
Well, there's certain criteria you can apply to it. I think in the final analysis, it's whether they're getting the results that they laid out in the plan. The most effective companies were the ones that I saw that they could lay out a plan and they could actually tick off and accomplish the things that they said they're going to do. And then the other element of it is make adjustments along the way. I studied the Japanese companies, and they weren't good planners. Despite the fact they had 100-year plans, they had visions of companies 200 years in the future. They weren't very good planners in the sense of formal planners. What they were is incredibly good adjusters. When something didn't work, they changed it. When that didn't work, they changed it again. When they kept adjusting until they got the results that they. And there are many.
How does that happen? Who makes the decision to adjust? You know what I mean? Is that like one person, a committee? How do they decide? Oh, this isn't working. Let's go with something else.
Well, I think it happens at two levels. First of all, it happens at the leadership level. If the leader doesn't understand that they got to, and because companies will set directions and start to do things and get stuck in the mud, and they're not getting results, but they're still doing the same thing over and over again, right? And they need people and leadership who will call them on that and who will say, that's not working, let's try something else.